out over my 27 male, new female friend. Original post. Hello all. A little context, my wife has told me she gets along better with men and generally prefers their company. We both moved to a new city when we got married, and I was very lucky to have friends in the area. She did not. She made a new friend, we'll call Michael, after a coworker set up a blind hangout thing and a hike. As far as I know, that's the only time they physically saw each other, but they kept in touch through Instagram ever since. That was about a year and a half ago. During that time, I've had a lot of problems with him. My wife and I have an open text policy, and the few times I've read what he's saying to her, I've gotten upset. Examples include, he only refers to me as boyfriend. Wife insists she's told him she's married, but he just refuses to acknowledge. He's expressed he has no interest in ever meeting me. She's defended this by saying he just hates Americans. I think he's Ukrainian. He's called my wife pretty, cute, heart emojis, all that crap. He constantly asks her out for drinks and dinner, and always asks her to not bring me or tell me. They both have deleted countless messages, and even comments on each other's pictures. I've yelled and argued over his behavior to the point of exhaustion. I eventually just let it go and learned to coexist with his presence. My wife refuses to cut him out of her life, says nothing he's done is inappropriate, and that even if it was, she doesn't like him so it shouldn't matter. I said all that so I can say this, I've never been allowed to have female friends. I recognize the hypocrisy, but honestly didn't care much. I didn't have any female friends anyway. That changed recently when I met a girl I clicked with at an event, and we've been texting loosely over the last few days. My wife went through my Facebook messages and caught wind, and has since gotten extremely upset. To be clear, I've never cheated. The conversations were completely innocent, very getting to know someone kind of fluff. My wife told me to cut her out or she's getting a divorce. I thought this was silly as I've been putting up with Michael for much longer. I kept trying to point out the double standard, but she just kept repeating how she didn't care and that her friendship with Michael was different because they'd known each other longer, never mind that they met the same way. The only viable thing I could think she's worried about is the fact I'll be seeing the new girl once a week, consistently for a few months, due to the nature of the event we attend. My wife has not seen Michael since they hung out once more than a year ago. They text constantly though. She knows everything that's going on in his life, every detail. She's admitted casually that he understands her better than anyone. We argued for a while, and I ended up getting really upset trying to show her how ridiculous the whole conversation was, that if she wanted me to have zero contact with any women except for her, I wanted the same from her. She went to bed promising to spend extra time with Michael and flipped me off. I admit I'm writing this angers me, but I'm having a hard time feeling like a jerk. I genuinely don't believe I'm wrong. At all. Am I? TLDR, wife wants me to stop talking to new female friend. She's had a male friend for over a year that crosses boundaries constantly. She refuses to stop talking to him and won't reason with me, and I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. Now for the top advice before reading the updates. Man, it does seem really hard. For all of us who comment, we only see and know what you tell us, and then project our own experiences and assumptions. Look, I don't know who is right, and I totally get that from some angle. It looks totally innocent, and understand why you're so baffled. Other than this saga with Michael, does your wife treat you well? Is she the same, loving person I presume she was when your love was new? Does she do the little things for you? Does she smile at you? When you are intimate, does she get into it? You don't have to answer. Do you try and does she try to be romantic? Do you have plans for the future together? And very importantly, do you want to grow old with her? Partnership or marriage is not about one person being responsible for everything. You both need to put in about the same amount of effort. It's best when the effort doesn't seem like one, when it just brings you joy to make the other person happy. Personally, I would mind a lot if my wife had a text buddy like this too. It's not healthy. Again, trust yourself and your instinct. Be good to yourself. Love is supposed to feel good and uplift, even years into a marriage. Yes and no. She requires almost all of my time and attention. The Michael thing has been a problem since near the beginning. They met maybe 2 months after we got married, but outside of all that, she has these wild mood swings. I'm talking cartwheels one day and everything is my fault the next. She expects a lot out of me, and according to her, I always fall short. Nothing I do has ever really been enough, and she expects me to keep a list of the nice things I've done for her so I can have verifiable proof I'm not a selfish jerk. I don't keep that last, partly because I don't remember and I just don't think that's right. When she's in a good mood, she smiles at me. She doesn't do little things much. That's mostly my job. Our intimate life took a huge nosedive a few months ago. We've been doing it 1 or twice a month since, which is not enough for me at all. She blames her low drive on her pill, which could be very true and I understand, but it's frustrating she won't consider any other form of birth control, and insisted I'm just going to have to deal with it as she has said intimacy isn't important to me anyway. Looking towards plans in the future freak me out. At least right now they do. I don't feel like I love her anymore. I feel like I don't even like her much anymore as a person. Her complete unwillingness to compromise or even try to put herself in my shoes really hurts, when I've done so much to bend over backwards for this woman. She doesn't understand why we're still fighting. I genuinely don't think she understands what this fight meant to me and what I'm taking from it. I'm trying to feel better, but I just can't. I tried to sleep in our bed last night, but I didn't want her near me. I didn't want her to touch me. I'd have rather slept on the couch. Right now, it doesn't feel like love. I feel like I'm not being heard and that my feelings don't mean anything to her. She wants things her way, and that's the end of it. I'm starting to wonder if my feelings ever meant something to her or if I've just been getting yanked this whole time. My wife told me to cut her out or she's getting a divorce. She went to bed promising to spend extra time with Michael and flipped me off. Your wife is angry because she knows her friendship with Michael goes way beyond a platonic friendship, and this is what she fears with your friend. I think that's what is called projection. Anytime someone overreacts like this, threatening divorce, and threatening to punish you by spending more time with her emotional affair partner, it's not going to end well. She'll continue cheating, escalate physically, and feel justified in doing so because you have a friend. Let her file for divorce. She doesn't sound worth the trouble of trying to hang on to. Michael can take care of her now and she can threaten him and his female friends. To say your wife has some issues is an understatement. She's always weaponized him against me because she must know on some level their relationship is inappropriate. Whenever I've tried to go out with my friends on the weekend, she might go out with Michael instead then. When I tried to get a D&D group together with my friends, that day was going to become her Michael day because I abandoned her and don't care. I worry this behavior is going to end up leading her to sit on this guy's junk out of pure spite, and she'll feel justified doing so. This is emotional manipulation, plain and simple. Your wife is manipulating you to continue spending time with another man who showers her in inappropriate affection. You know where this is going. You don't seem to be a naive person. I'd say get your ducks in a row and get out. I'd take 10 to 1 odds that she's already banged Michael. Seriously, don't wait for her to divorce you, you divorce her. She doesn't give a damn about you, dude. My wife has not seen Michael since they hung out once more than a year ago. Literally no one here but you believes that. It sounds obvious, and she has ample time to make it happen. My schedule causes me to be literally gone from the house until 2 to 4 a.m. some nights. Somehow I doubt they're actually meeting up though. The texts I've seen have never been recapping things they've done or want to do to each other. It's always restaurant plans that never seem to come to fruition. My wife is also lazy as heck and doesn't leave the house for anything, ever. You also admit they delete texts and she knows you look at her texts. So how do you know they don't talk on the phone to make appointments? How do you know those appointments are not at your house? Now for the first update. Woke up to lots of feedback. I want to paint the most unbiased picture I can, so I'll try my best to paint the clearest picture below. They have always been kinda shady with their friendship. I'm expected to hand my phone over weekly for my wife to go through and interrogate me. Meanwhile, I have to fight and pester to see hers in return. She won't just hand it over like I do. This kind of thing has been a problem for a long time, but I don't want to paint myself as a complete victim. I've thrown fits over a lot of the men in her life, to the point where it's probably my insecurity more than anything. She does a good job convincing me I'm always talking out of my butt, and these guys aren't doing anything wrong, and I'm not letting her make any friends. That I'm controlling and want to keep her isolated. I've expressed a million times I would love her to find hobbies, friends, and interests outside of me. She has zero life outside of me and whatever boys she's texting. When she's not working, she's on her phone on social media. That's literally it. Anyway, there was a period where Michael had a girlfriend, much to my wife's dismay. My wife used to slam this girl that she didn't even know. Say awful things, hope she dies, expressed no desire to ever meet her, would openly tell me how much she missed Michael. According to her, the deleted texts were Michael's doing. And he did that because his girlfriend was getting upset over how he treated my wife. He was covering his own behind because his own girlfriend thought he was crossing boundaries. Unreal. They broke up just a few weeks ago, actually. According to my wife, she dumped him because she got done spending all his money and was done using him. I suspect it's because of my wife. He probably refused to change his behavior, so his girlfriend ran for the hills. In the past, whenever I've tried to argue against Michael and basically beg her to get rid of him, she insisted that she just wants friends. She's lonely. She doesn't believe Michael thinks about her like that. He's just joking. I'll admit I'm getting some kind of vindictive pleasure feeding her her own medicine, but I never win these wars of attrition. I crave peace in my house and usually always fold first just to make things return to a normalcy. Reading over all the comments, I realize I've been a giant pushover and should have put boundaries down, but I worry that time has long since passed. It's difficult for people to relearn how to treat you. The fight we're currently in won't end until I cut all contact with my friend. She will not stop talking to Michael. This is the 11,000th fight over the subject. I know that isn't going to change. I'm having a hard time justifying if the fighting is even worth it. It's going to days if not weeks of crying, ice-cold shouldering, taunting me with Michael, taking raunchy pictures on Instagram, etc. until I break and give up. I always last until the tears. I just can't handle her crying. It drives me nuts. In any case, I think I'm just going to dig my heels in with this and see how bad it gets. I'm coming to realize if it's not this, it'll just be something else. It's only been a few years and marriage is meant to be forever, but I'm exhausted. She's incredible at gaslighting and manipulation, and I feel like I've done a horrible thing by talking to this other girl. I feel like I've betrayed my wife and I'm causing her pain, but I need to remember she's been doing this with Michael for a long time, and she doesn't seem to care, so why should I? Second update. So I think we might really be getting a divorce. First thing she texted me after the fight was, "You are really disrespectful. You can continue to not care as always." I sent a really long message about how she finds my friendship with new girl disrespectful. Fine. I told her I found her friendship with Michael disrespectful for all the reasons listed above. She told me she needs him in her life for the times when I'm not there, like now. That was about the stupidest thing I've ever heard, and I'm pretty done with all of this. It's been a long, long time coming. I want my life back. I just don't need this crap. She told me she doesn't care if I run away with new girl, that I should just leave her, and how I'm a coward and I never cared. I told her if she'd really rather leave me than cut the other guy out, so be it. She's his problem now. Good luck, dude. She went on to say she doesn't care if I have a million girlfriends, I can bang all of them. How dare I disrespect her like this, and she wants me the heck out of her life. I guess now I need to figure out where I'm going to go. None of my friends have a couch, I don't have much money. We have a good 8 months left on our lease. Last update. So we had a talk last night. I was trying to avoid her because I just didn't want to deal with this and I wanted to think. She relented and said I'm allowed to have female friends, she just wants to stop fighting. I didn't cave. I kept pressing and said this is about Michael. This is about your emotional affair. She seemed like she didn't know what that word meant, and after looking it up, laughed and said that's completely insane. She said Michael is her only friend she has, she wants him to be her best friend, and that her finding comfort in him when we have problems is no different than me finding comfort from my friends, which I've done. I can't help but feel like she has a point, but there must be some difference between friends and whatever the heck Michael is trying to be. I cannot convince her she's having an emotional affair. Her words were, "How can you know what I'm feeling? You're making accusations based off assumptions." I suggested we take the problem to one couple's counseling session, just to help get a definition of emotional cheating. She shot that down, insisting she's too lazy to bother. I told her I'm asking her for one thing, if this could be the one thing that saves the marriage. She says she thinks I should go, but she has zero interest in going. She has zero interest in changing anything. She's completely convinced she's done nothing wrong. She even continued to say she thinks Michael is her only friend, and hopefully soon her best friend. Her big argument was, I want to take her one and only friend away, that I freak out over every man in her life, which is true, I struggle with insecurity, and if it's not Michael, it will just be someone else. She doesn't want to make any other friends, she doesn't want to meet anyone else. She insists I've never seen proof of Michael openly flirting or wanting her intimately, which to an extent is true. I've never seen texts of him outright saying it, but I still feel like he's crossing a serious line. She insists all she meant with the "I need him when you're not around" comment is the same as me needing my friends when we fight. My head is all messed up right now. I'm feeling like the jerk, but I still feel justified. I don't want to cave on this. I don't even know what my outcome is anymore though. I'm not sure what I'm trying to achieve with the fighting. I feel like if I win and she cuts Michael out, it will be for the completely wrong reasons, and the victory will be bitter and hollow. I'm not even in that relationship and already I want to get out of it. 5 minutes reading this and I want a divorce. You made it longer than me. I applaud your loyalty to this marriage. I cannot imagine being in a relationship where you trust each other so little that you have to go through each other's texts on a weekly basis. Sounds like it wasn't meant to be. That just sounds tiring. Either you trust them and have a relationship, or don't and break up. Both are better than how stressful this sounds. I literally told my partner in the beginning that if I feel like I need to go through your phone or vice versa, let's just break up. I won't be with someone I can't trust again. I've been with a cheater already. Jesus Christ, just divorce already. I can't imagine being such a little spineless human to let this level of disrespect go on for years. Jesus Christ OP, I hope you read this, grow a pair, and leave relationship. Toxic relationships can be hard to get out of. Heck, it can be hard just to realize you're even in one. This is such an ignorant and mean thing to say.